Hello everybody and welcome back to Robert's Reviews. Today is Tuesday, right? Yeah, it's Tuesday, which means we're doing a Leonardo DiCaprio review, as always, for the next 3 weeks, and then we're going to be done with that. Just in case you guys were curious, we are moving on to talking about Robin Williams movies, so we're going to be watching every Robin Williams movie after this, and I'm really excited about it. But we're still in Leonardo DiCaprio, we're still trucking through them, and I'm having a great time, more so than I am with Steve Carell. So I'm excited to talk about this movie because I think it's better than the recent Steve Carell movie I watched. But let's go ahead and start talking about The Wolf of Wall Street. The Wolf of Wall Street was released in 2013. It was written by Terrence Winter and directed by Martin Scorsese, which is, the fifth time? Sixth time? Fifth time? I think it's the fifth time that Leonardo DiCaprio has led a Martin Scorsese film, which I'm okay with because he does pretty well in them and I like most of them. So that's nice. But let's go ahead and start talking about it. I'm not going to spoil it because it's a very good movie. There is a lot of swearing in this movie. I actually had to log into my YouTube because I rented it on YouTube because you can't find it on any streaming platform, right? And so I had to log into my YouTube, make sure my birthday was correct so I could watch the film. They don't let you rent it unless you're 18 or up. They let you buy it. They let you rent it. You just can't watch it, which I was almost pissed because I rented it for $4 or whatever, $3 or $4. And once you go watch it, it's like, you need to show that you have proof of age. And I'm like, what? This is ridiculous. Like, I'm 20 years old, right? So I had to go in on my laptop and type everything to make sure it was right. And then it was, and it was like, okay, now you can watch it. I'm like, jeez. Which I get why. There's plenty of nudity and plenty of swear words to go around. It's actually quite insane. Lots of drugs too. But essentially what happens is we have this person, his name is Jordan Belfort, and this is kind of based on a true story. And what happens is he creates this company where he is basically creating fraudulent stocks, okay, and penny stocks and stuff like that. And it's making him and his company wicked rich off of the poor people that are like, oh, I'd like to start earning some more money, so they do that, and then they don't actually make any more money because all the money's going right to Leonardo DiCaprio, which is a really cool basis for a story, and I like it a lot. And while I think it is very fun and wildly entertaining, I don't think it's a very particularly fantastic movie. Okay, and here's why. And people are going to argue with me, and that's fine. Let me know what you guys thought about the movie down below in the comments. While I think it is funny and very entertaining and very good, there are some issues with it, particularly the ending parts, which the ending of this movie is an hour long, okay, because we have that fake ending where they're going to die in the boat, and then they don't, and then they have the trial and all that stuff, and honestly, it's exhausting. The last hour of this movie is exhausting to watch, because you don't know where it's going to end, and you'd think it'd be exciting, but it's really kind of not. It's not the best ending for a movie. I wish that it wasn't as scrambled, because after the first 2 hours are very solid. They're okay, backstory, what's happening now, and then future. But I wish it wasn't as choppy in the end, right? The pun almost intended, if you remember the choppiness of the boat. But there's this part, right, towards the end where you realize, wow, they really don't know where they're going with this ending. Part of that has to do with the copious amount of drugs that the people are taking, which I can kind of see that, the editing is done on purpose, that it's not, he's on drugs, right? I'm reading a book right now called Cherry, and essentially what happens in this book is there's this guy on drugs, and he's in the army and stuff, and in the beginning of the book it's really hard to read because it's written from the perspective of someone who's high on heroin, and you're like, wow, that's kind of hard to read because not all the sentences necessarily have to make sense next to each other. And the same thing with this movie, we're okay, these two scenes are edited next to each other, but they don't make any sense. Which I get, but also is frustrating, particularly when he's sober. You're like, wow, he hasn't drank or done any drugs in a while, and they're still doing this weird thing of we don't really know where we want to end the film yet, but here are a couple possibilities. And it's it's exhausting. But the film makes up for it with wildly hilarious jokes, copious amounts of drugs, lots of nudity, and lots of fun swear words. Which is great, particularly considering Leonardo DiCaprio hasn't done a whole lot of that. And Margot Robbie is incredibly attractive. So it's we get these two things that balance out the fact that the end of the movie is just not good at all. And that's interesting because like people are just willing to ignore it, right? Like I was talking to a buddy of mine who he's like, "Oh, have you seen The Wolf of Wall Street?" I'm like, "No, I'm watching it in the next couple of days." He's like, "You're gonna love it," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I was like, "All right, I'm gonna love it." So I start watching it. I'm like, "Oh, I love it." And then like the end of the movie, I was like, I like it, but it's really not as good as I think he thinks it is. I'm gonna urge him to watch it again and try to pay attention towards the end. But overall, again, not a bad movie. I like it a lot, and there's just a couple issues with it. And the acting is really good. So let's go ahead and start talking about some of that. Starting with, of course, Leonardo DiCaprio as Jordan Belfort. Leonardo DiCaprio is the king of acting, in my opinion. I think he's literally almost perfect. And this is no other option. I mean, he's really, really funny here. He's funny, and he's physical. He's more physically funny than he's ever been before. And he doesn't really do a whole lot of comedy, but he does a reasonable amount now. And I really liked him here. I liked him a lot, especially like that one scene where like he opens the car with his foot. Apparently, that was entirely like his plan, like improv. And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna open the door with my foot." Yeah, and it's funny. It's really funny, and he's great. And I had no problem with him. And again, most of my problems, I think all my problems with the writing, and with some of the directing here. But DiCaprio delivers another very solid performance. Jonah Hill is Donnie Azoff. I liked his character a lot, and I think Jonah Hill was really good. I just didn't really care as much for him as I did with Leonardo DiCaprio and Margot Robbie. I had more connection with them than I did with Jonah Hill, and Jonah Hill was good. He was fine. He's the buddy, and that's his role. He's just the buddy. That's like his thing, which is great. I mean, that's Jonah Hill's most of the time what he does. But yeah, I think he's good. I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. I know he's in a couple movies next year that I'm looking forward to. But I do think that maybe they should have developed his character a little bit more because for the purpose of this film, he's just this guy that's like really drunk all the time. And he's really weird too. Like the way that he joins the company was like really dumb in my opinion. He's like, "Oh, you're making a lot of money? I'd like to join your company." And like Leonardo DiCaprio was like, "Okay." And like, why? Like, it just kind of felt almost a little lackadaisical there. But who am I to judge? Margot Robbie as Naomi Lapaglia? Why do they have weird names? It's a story. Margot Robbie's great. I really do think she's great. Incredibly attractive, which is what they're going for here. But also very funny and also down to earth. I think her character is the hardest to play here because for the most part, she's just supposed to be this whore that, Leonardo DiCaprio gets into. But then, they have kids and she's like, gotta be a parent. And then she's got that nursery scene that you're like, weird. And like, then towards the end she gets very dramatic and very serious about things. And honestly, it's really good. And I liked it a lot, and I think it was good, except for the ending, which didn't really have it wasn't her problem. That's the director's problem. I just didn't like the fact that the ending felt so weird. I like the actual ending scene was great. But the half hour leading up to the ending was just like, oh, and then this happened. And I was like, ugh, I can talk about it for days. But Margot Robbie is great. I don't think that the ending is her fault. And her part in the ending is fine. I think it's good. It's good enough for an ending of a pretty good character. Overall, The Wolf of Wall Street is a very, very entertaining film. Unfortunately, you can't find it anywhere except for to rent or to buy. And you have to be over 18 to watch it, apparently. At least on YouTube. I don't know about anything else. You might be able to rent it on Prime Video and be able to watch it scot-free. But if you rent it on YouTube, just be aware that you do need to have your birthday in your Google account. And you need to be over 18 to watch the film. Which is fair enough, I guess. I get it. I do get why. But also, just let me watch the film without all this hassle, really. But overall, a really solid movie. I liked it a lot, and I'm going to go ahead and give The Wolf of Wall Street an A-. I was really looking forward to giving this movie an A+, because everyone said it was really good. And it is really good, I like it a lot, but I don't think it deserves an A+. Looking forward to the rest of the weekend and the beginning of next week. Avengers Infinity War tomorrow. It's going to be a short video, probably, because it's Avengers Infinity War. I don't have a whole lot of thoughts. It's pretty straightforward. Irresistible on Thursday, which is the final Steve Carell movie ever made so far, and then that's incredible. Friday, La La Land, and we have, looks like 3 movies coming out that day, so look forward to those. Lost in Translation on Saturday, that's a movie I have to watch for school, and it has Scarlett Johansson and Bill Murray, so look forward to that. Sunday, I'm releasing my thoughts on The Devil All the Time, and essentially what I'll be doing is I'll be talking about the differences between the book and the movie, because I read the book, it's over here, it's that one right there. So the differences between the book and the movie for The Devil All the Time. I'm really excited for that video. The Return of the King on Monday, which is the last Lord of the Rings movie, but I still have 3 more Hobbit movies to watch. Then The Revenant, Cloak and Dagger Season 1, Reservoir Dogs, Superbad, and that'll kick off April, and then we're going to be on May, and that's insane. We're almost done with April. That's scary. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please consider subscribing. Let me know what you guys thought about The Wolf of Wall Street in the comments down below, and as always, keep watching movies and television, stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.